Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the best way to set up your home Wi-Fi in 2021. And welcome. I'm Devin with DMD. We have a few products in front of us here that I'd like to talk about. This is a cable modem. This is a router or firewall or security appliance. This is a wireless access point. Okay, so your average person calls a service provider, let's say your cable company, and they ask for internet. The gentleman shows up. He gives you colloquially we would call it a router or a modem, right? But really what it is all three of these things built in together, okay? And that actually works perfectly fine for most people. It also works fine for the cable company, the service provider, because typically they're going to lease you that device $5 a month, $6 a month. I've seen it as high as $9 a month. It does not seem like a lot of money, but let's face it, time flies. And most people have their internet for a very long time. So that lease fee really adds up. And truthfully, the equipment is never the best. I mean, if you think about the scale at which they're deploying it, again, I don't want to disparage anybody, but if you think about the scale at which they're deploying it, they're looking for probably, just a guess, they're looking for the lowest cost item to serve the most people, okay? And that can be a great strategy unless you're at the margins, all right? So for most people, let's say you have a two-bedroom apartment. Let's say you have a small ranch-style house. Let's say you have a college dorm room, whatever. That device given to you is perfectly acceptable. From a performance standpoint, it may leave something to be desired if you have special requirements in terms of security or configuration, if you're a video gamer, etc. It may leave something to be desired. However, if you're just surfing the web, if you're just doing what most people do, it's all you need. Which just brings us to the fact that the only problem would be that they're charging you every month, right? And that potentially over time, that cost could add up. So enter this device. This is a cable modem that we purchase ourselves. Now, this is not an advertisement for Motorola. I just happen to have this for a job tomorrow, although I do really like this particular model, so maybe it is an advertisement for Motorola, right? But this is doing two things for us, ultimately. One, this is allowing us to essentially remove that monthly lease charge from the cable company. You're going to purchase this yourself. This one, brand new, I believe was around $80. If you want super top of the line, they can run up to $200. If you're willing to roll the dice, you could probably get something on eBay. You could probably get a last year's model kind of thing for 25, 30 bucks. I've seen it before. So regardless, what this is really allowing you to do, this is allowing you to call your cable company and say, I have my own equipment. Stop charging me the lease fee, okay? Immediately from that day forward, you've saved a monthly fee. Can really add up over time, But more importantly, and what we're going to focus on here, is the performance side of things. So essentially what this does is this opens the door and allows you to use your own equipment moving forward. Other than that, it's a pretty boring device. There's not a lot of configuration. There's not a lot of things to play with. The only time you'll encounter any of the settings is if you're having trouble, if you have service outages, interruptions, and then there's some error data logging you can look into. Pretty geeky stuff beyond the purview of this. All you really need to know is that this is essentially like buying your own water meter, so the utility company does not charge you every month for one. Let's move on from there to the router. Now, this is a brand you're not going to see. I use this professionally. You're not going to see this many places. There's a ton of manufacturers that make routers. Some have wireless built in, some do not. A general theme of what we're doing here is we're trying to separate the components. The cable company gives you all of them squeezed together because that's more efficient for them. It probably costs less. we're separating them out. Each device does one thing and it does it well, probably better than that first combined all-in-one device does. So let's talk about this router here. This is effectively the brain of a network. This handles, let's say you have a large family, 3 kids, wife, husband, nanny, etc., all kinds of things going on. Everybody has their own device. You have multiple TVs. This is essentially taking the service coming in from the cable modem and it's divvying it up. Okay, you're watching YouTube. Okay, you're doing your office work. It's keeping tabs on all your devices. It's sending the traffic where appropriate. You can research what a router does if you're curious. For the purposes of this conversation, think of it as the brain of your house. Okay, so in a typical residence, these things are going to be located in the basement. Actually, you know what? Let me change that. Let me be honest here. In a typical residence, these things are located wherever the cable guy found to be the easiest place to locate them. So if you have a home office, odds are pretty good the cable guy drilled through the side of your house, plopped his modem down on the floor of your home office, and left as soon as possible. Again, not disparaging them in any way. It's just the business model. It's just how they work. They need to get in and out. They basically find the fastest, easiest way to give you the service that you've requested. So that's why a lot of times you find them on the floor of an office, okay? Maybe that's where your main computer is plugged in. Maybe that's where your printer is. It's when you hire a professional like myself where we're going to try to locate these in a place that's aesthetically pleasing. So we'll put them in a mechanical area and then we'll deal with feeding your office from there. We'll make sure that the signal gets there. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So generally speaking, we're going to put these devices together in the basement. And that's going to be where or a crawl space or an attic or sort of wherever your utilities come in. We call it a demarcation point, your electrical panel, things like that. These are all going to be together and out of the way. That's typically where all the wiring from your house runs as well. So if you have outlets, phone outlets, Ethernet outlets around your house, those are probably running to a central location in a mechanical area. That's why we locate these there, because then we can split the signal out to all the different rooms of your house, which then brings us to this device. So let's talk about the wireless access point here. And what this is the device that generates your Wi-Fi signal, okay? Up until this point, we haven't talked about wireless at all. All this stuff has been wired, it's been tucked in the basement. It has nothing to do with the signal you're gonna get on your phone. This does. Now, depending on the size of your property, you may need a lot of these. You know, if you have a hotel, you'll see these, look around, you'll see them up in the ceiling. Every certain number of rooms, you'll see them on every floor. If you have a large property, you could need a lot of these. But the reason we break this out into a separate device is, first of all, look at how nice that looks on the wall. So this is big on aesthetics. Same for the ceiling, you don't even see it, okay? So compare and contrast that with the example we gave you earlier of the cable guy just kind of throwing things on the floor in your home office with wires everywhere. And with this is a much nicer alternative, okay? And professionally, we take aesthetics very seriously. If you're just an enthusiast, you may want to throw things on the ground in the corner just so you can kind of play with them easily and modify things easily. But on the professional side, we really care about aesthetics. So the next question is just how many of these do you need? It's very hard to speak exactly to the range of one of these devices. If I had to, throw a square footage out there, maybe 800 square feet. Tough, very tough to say. Don't quote me on that. But basically, the room that we put this in, it will work very well. It will most likely work very well in the rooms surrounding the room we put this in. it will most likely work very well in the room above and the room below where we put this. Beyond that, who knows? Or in, you know, strange examples, very high-end residences with large rooms. Oh boy, another example. If you're in a downtown, if you're in Manhattan in a giant apartment building, good luck. There's a lot of things that affect Wi-Fi signal. So it's difficult to say exactly how many of these you need. It's trial and error for the most part. Trial and error, and as a professional, it's a little bit of instinct just because I've done so many different types of buildings. But generally speaking, the less interference, the less dense your structure is. If you're in a stone house, it'll be pretty bad. If you have a giant aquarium tank there, it'll be pretty bad. But you know, your regular ranch style house, it'll be pretty good. It'll be pretty good. You might be able to get away with just one, honestly, central to the property. And for a lot of jobs we do, that's where we start. We start to just place one of these as central as possible, and we sort of hope for the best. And then we reassess with the client if there's any dead spots anywhere, or if there's anything we have to look at in more depth. Okay, so this was really just a structural overview. If you design your home Wi-Fi this way, you're doing it the way that professionals do. You have a really excellent foundation to give yourself fast and reliable service for a long time to come. If this seems a little bit over your head in terms of locating these devices, mounting them, getting wires to them, in terms of crawling around in the basement and finding the demarcation point where all this stuff enters the house, maybe then it's time to talk to a professional. We work in New England, we work here in Southern California, and really everywhere in between, so I'm certainly happy to entertain any custom requests. But really what you want to do is find a local licensed wiring contractor. And I specialize in residential. What you find with internet is a lot of guys deploy these commercially, and they don't quite know what's going on in a typical home, especially a larger property. So while the general technology is similar, the needs, the requirements, the serviceability, that all changes a little. So it would behoove you to find a residential specialist like myself. I'd love for you to check out my website, dmdav.com, or leave me some comments here on YouTube, shoot me a message online. I hope this was informative to you, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much.